And hey, everybody, happy Wednesday night. Welcome to Comics Smack Talk Live. And we are live, 8 p.m. Central here on your Wednesday night. And we've got a ton of topics this week. It was kind of a smorgasbord of comic book news just falling into our laps after a Sunday night show bright and early Monday morning. The Wolverine suit got thrown out there for the world to see, and I mean, I've seen a bunch of people on either side of it, but I'm just excited. There's an actual Wolverine suit finally after 23 years of Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. They teased it in it got edited out in Wolverine, because wasn't it Yukio hands him the suit and the briefcase and the airplane at the end? That was supposed to be a after credits tag, and then they edited that out. So they got close, but they wussed out. So welcome, Rob, my partner in crime here, Rob Hunter. How's it going tonight?
Dude, it's going fantastic. I'm about to finish my second Death Rider page of the week.
Nice.
Today's only Wednesday, so
that's a good week of work.
Oh, dude, it's the grind is finally starting to come together.
Yeah.
It also probably helped that I couldn't touch Death Raider for like 2 weeks, so I got really excited to be able to jump right back in.
Yep, absolutely. Then you get going. I will say hail to the chat here. We got a few people showing up. Hail Wolverine. That's as close to spelling as I need, but good to see you in here. Hail Randy. What's going on, brother? And appreciate you sharing the links on social media. That's awesome. And so now I think I gave Randy a wrench last week. Does that stay with him, or do I have to hand out? Nope, it does stay with him. So
yeah, he stays with him.
That's awesome. I don't have to do it every week. So yeah, so the big news starting out the week was definitely the Wolverine suit. Mm-hmm. And I know there are people that are critical of it. But again, I'm always glasses half full or glasses fully full, and I'm chugging it. But I'm just glad to see a real Wolverine suit. Like, this is at least a solid attempt by Hollywood to make a full-on Wolverine first original. It's not the John Byrne, the brown and black. This is the original Hulk 181 suit with definitely some modifications. And me and Rob talked about this a little bit, and not everybody knows this, but there's reasons they make these modifications.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They and I don't know how true this suit is because they brought the yellow and blue one back since 181. Obviously, we've seen it in. I think we even saw it with Jim Lee, the end of Jim Lee's run.
There's been a bunch of modified versions of the original Hulk 181 suit.
Yeah. Because the 181 suit was kind of shitty. The mask was kind of crappy and stuff.
Oh god, it had the lines.
It was just old. Yeah,
it had the whiskers. It had the whisker lines in the mask.
But Hollywood will always change everything, and specifically with the costume, as we're talking about the costume, because that way the movie designer gets to check, or the director gets to check if it makes a bunch of money in the toys.
Yeah, when you have a question about this, it always comes down to money.
It's always money.
It's the toys, the action figures that sell, and there's royalties on every one of those toy sales.
Mm-hmm. And if they change it enough, then there's no comic book artist who can raise their hand and say, hey, that's my exact design. Where's my check? Where's my movie check? Where's my toy check? Where's my, statue check, all that stuff. Instead, they can just go, it's whatever the designer's check or royalty rate is. Maybe he doesn't even get a royalty rate. Maybe he just gets a big pile of money, not as much as the director, but maybe he gets like a pickup truck of money
and
for doing movie stuff.
Yeah, and realistically now with this, because there's, like we said, there's been multiple artists that have done different designs on this costume.
Yeah.
So now really it narrows down the claim, and it's probably down to Herb Trimp, right? or who designed the original costume? Is Herb Trimp, I think, was drawing Hulk at that time with Hulk 181, or was it
did he do
Cockrum
that
redesigned
issue?
it? Cockrum
Yeah.
redesigned it for New X-Men.
Yeah, so it would either be Herb Trimp because of the blue and yellow, but look at how different it is.
Yeah,
You know, it's really different.
the closest one that I saw to this was the John Cassidy design from was it John Cassidy and Grant Morrison, or who was writing that? Oh no, Joss Whedon. It was the Joss Whedon run by drawn by John Cassidy. So
you mean Mr. Straightforward? No interesting shots, no.
Oh God,
yeah. His storytelling was so boring.
That guy must have known somebody, because he was the most vanilla artist, bland, like you're saying, but he got all the work for about 5 straight years, like any good gig.
He was a big, good-looking dude who did storyboards.
He was a storyboard artist, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where he went to. That's why we don't see him very often anymore.
Yeah. Well, and Randy's saying here that Hugh doesn't have to bulk up. And Hugh's never been able to bulk up because he's a tall, lean guy. What Hugh does is he gets cut. And so this probably helps him not have to, do that extreme diet. But, Hugh's got good-sized arms on him. And this is my biggest complaint with the suit is, Hugh's arms are ripped. He's not got the Hemsworth jacked arms, but so I don't know why they didn't go bare arms in this suit, because I think it really would have worked.
Someone on Twitter, when we were talking about this a few days ago on Twitter, I actually Googled, and they show Hugh working out, and because he said he couldn't work, that's just his way of saying, I want more money to come back, when he said he couldn't get in
that could be too.
Shape. And it could mean that he wants a specific trainer who's a buddy who gets paid extra because he specifically asked for him.
Yeah.
But someone said on Twitter that the arms are set up to tear away, so that we see him without the sleeves.
And
that specifically is designed so that really quickly he ends up with no sleeves anyways.
And I get the feeling that there's going to be, well, not just variations on this costume, but there might be, if you look at what they're doing, all right, Marvel has already established the multiverse. This is clearly not Wolverine from the Logan movie. Everybody said that Logan is dead. So this is multiverse Wolverine, multiverse Deadpool.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Are you sure it's not Deadpool digging up Wolverine?
I am 100% sure of that. This is not, because what I've read is Ryan Reynolds and the writers, Ryan Reynolds and the writers at Deadpool, they're like this, and Ryan Reynolds is basically a co-writer. Yeah. And they've been going on about how great Disney MCU has been, how great Disney Marvel has been to them. And Disney Marvel has offered, what do you want to use from the universe? Mm-hmm. So, and I could be wrong, because this is all rumor, this is all gossip, the movie's, a year away. But this is multiverse to me. This is not an extension of Hugh Jackman's previous Wolverine movies. This is a multiverse Wolverine.
Oh, what isn't that? I didn't like Logan. I would have liked Logan if they probably spent $30 million more, or he wasn't so sick and they juiced up the reverse, because it kind of,
I thought it was the most interesting of the movies, but it wasn't. All of those Wolverine movies suffer from something. None of them were as good as they could have been. Obviously, the Wolverine, they butchered so much of the Chris Claremont, Frank Miller stuff that movie was an atrocity. It threw Silver Samurai in there. That was nothing related to Silver Samurai from the comics.
Wolverine sick. Wolverine sick for 2 movies.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me? for 2 movies in a row. I
He
didn't
has
even realize
a
that.
healing factor. Why is he sick for 2 movies in a row?
We walked out of that theater when the movie is over. And my wife goes, "You're sick for 2 movies.
Yeah.
Why was he sick for 2 movies?" So, yeah, dude.
Hail Marcus.
But my point was, even though I wasn't a big fan of Logan, here we see that having the multiverse means you can shit on all the stories.
Mm-hmm.
You can kill a major character and just drag them out of some other universe. Multiverse is a double-edged sword because it shits on all your stories. It literally it craps on all the stories. Anything that was
but I don't care
interesting.
about that. I don't care about that. I care about this story, and I have a lot of faith in Ryan Reynolds and the 2 writer guys because they've paid off what they've hinted at. I mean, Juggernaut in the second movie, Cable in the second movie, Colossus in the first movie.
Yes.
Like they have used, and they've used it sparingly, but they've used it effectively.
They treated the characters so much better than anybody else had ever.
100%. They respect the characters. They keep them true to the comics. They have fun with it. They can make jokes with it, but it still stays true to what everybody expects from these characters. Like Colossus, like that was like, holy crap, this is awesome, you know.
Oh, he's so much better in the Deadpool movies than he ever was in X-Men.
Oh yeah, he was
X-Men. It was horrific.
He was just a guy standing in the background that put his armor on once in a while. It was a joke. So like I have a lot of faith, and the thing that I'm even more excited about is it seems like there's going to be a lot of multiverse in this movie. Like,
well, they can set it up because he has Cable's time device still.
They can do that, but I don't even think they're going to rely on that. I think they're going to just like hit the ground running. They're going to do it a certain way, and maybe it's going to be Cable's time device. But I think there's going to be more X-Men showing up, has been hinted at, that you're going to see. The thing that makes me think that there's going to be a lot more to this is and I don't know if I've got it pulled up here or not. There's the fight scene with the giant display of 20th Century Fox. Here, let me share this one because I mean I think a lot of people have seen it, but I still think it's freaking hilarious.
I haven't seen it. I kind of stay away from.
Movies. That's the thing is if you want to avoid spoilers, tonight's show might not be the show for you because I pulled up a few spoilers here. And,
there's no context though. We're sharing stuff.
And that's the thing.
A year before the movie comes out.
So. Everything I'm saying is pure guesswork. I don't know anything. I am good at guessing things, but you can't hold it against me for guessing. So, but this is what makes me think that there's going to be a whole lot of the 20th Century Fox X-Men in the multiverse. So this is in the background of the Wolverine Deadpool fight. A half-buried 20th Century Fox logo in the sands.
And are we looking at Wolverine?
They start pointing at each other, but that's Hugh and the stunt double there. So,
okay.
So this is all the stuff that's leaking already.
Oh yeah,
and I mean, like. It had to be pointed out to me because I didn't get the joke the first time around in the very first Deadpool movie that was a helicarrier in the final battle of Deadpool 1, where they're.
Yeah.
And it's like I never pieced it together watching the movie, and then somebody said like that was a helicarrier from the MCU, so they were like tying it into the MCU, even though Fox and the X-Men weren't part of like that's how clever they were. They were doing this stuff a decade ago in the first movie. And so
they had we saw 3 helicarriers go down.
Yep.
Captain America 2, so.
Right. So yeah, there was a lot of crashed helicarriers around. I don't. Maybe it was Romita Senior that designed the original. That would make sense because he was like a house artist. But I'd have to do a little research to remember exactly who designed the original. Because yeah, it wasn't Cockrum in X-Men because he had already existed. He redesigned it once he came over to the X-Men. So, but yeah, that's the way they change these movies, or why they change these designs is yeah, it's always about money. It's always about getting people paid who are your buddies and that sort of thing. But should we go real spoilery? Because I've got a great.
Another one? Sure.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good one here. Let me take a look. Yeah, so it's that one. And I mean, this is like behind the scenes. You're getting the like behind the scenes post credit stuff before the movie comes out, but all right, so yeah, here we go. Yeah, this one was I looked at this a little bit earlier and I was like, damn. So if you're not excited about Deadpool 3 yet, here we go. You can
Is that Ryan Reynolds or is it stunt double? It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell from this distance. I think right now it's Reynolds and Hugh Jackson. But it just shows you like everything that's going on around them. And then I'm guessing it's pretty hot out there. I saw like them holding like mini fans in those costumes. So those costumes got to be brutal. And then you put a face mask over your face.
Yeah, and then everything's covered to make it look like it's snow. So, and you see that there's the wind's blowing from probably big fans off of camera.
Like I gotta say, I like Hugh Jackman's costume. I think it's an okay Wolverine costume. I don't have any major problems with it. I think he looks badass in it. It is a lot of yellow, but I think it'll work. But here we go. Go right in the kidneys.
You know,
the movie magic's happening right now.
You know how many gay jokes they can make though?
Oh,
if it's Wolverine does get dug up, and the first time we see Wolverine lucid, he's already in the costume, and he's like, "Wait a minute, who dressed me?"
Yeah.
And then Deadpool's like, "I had to put you in a costume. You need a costume, bro. You've never been in a costume." So.
Oh,
look at that. Oh,
look at the flip out of it. Nice.
Yep.
Thank God they've got the umbrella over there for Hugh Jackman.
I didn't even notice the two Wolverines. So that's
just imagine how much money that guy holding the umbrella was making. But this is just hilarious with the two of them walking around in costume like that.
Yeah, you can't even tell who's who from this distance.
Oh no. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point, I'm guessing, is they want the but this is the stuff we don't see, but there's always that, I think, with the superhero stuff there's always a guy in costume as the stunt double kind of thing.
Well, my buddy Steve Sprouse, he got to visit a friend of his was doing some stuff for the Batman movie that everyone ended up hating. With the nipple costumes and stuff.
With George Clooney,
yeah, with George Clooney. So Steve got to he had to visit the set, and he said that they found a guy so that George Clooney, the only time George Clooney was Batman in costume was for close-ups. He only did close-ups because he said they found a guy that looked just like George Clooney in the costume.
Yeah, and I'm sure Clooney
any other shot that wasn't close, wasn't George Clooney.
Yeah, and I'm sure Clooney didn't want to sit in the costume all day filming and everything. So yeah, hail Survive Infinity 0088, man. Welcome to the chat. And again, anybody who's new here, I've got a couple of new faces in here tonight, but if you're new to the channel, appreciate you guys showing up tonight. We talk comics and we kind of hit all the pop culture stuff for the week. But if you guys can hit that like button and then subscribe too, that really helps out the channel. It helps us build things up here. So we usually go Sunday nights, but there was just so much stuff going on this week. We figured we'd hit it early, and definitely wanted to talk Wolverine. And me personally, I'm a fan of the costume, even though it doesn't have the blue trunks. It's a lot of yellow. I would rather see the bare arms. And then I really hope he puts the mask on at some point. I think he will. I mean, if they're gonna do full costume, I gotta imagine he puts the mask on at some point during the movie. So
if he puts on the mask, then it's going to be because of a reason, like because it's bulletproof or something. Like there's going to have to be some weird, like they'll have to give it a reason to put the mask on. Otherwise, they won't. I mean, we've never seen him with a mask.
I'm hoping like movie writers have gotten past the point of like we need to explain why he's wearing a mask and all this bullshit. It's a superhero movie. They wear costumes. They wear masks. It's like you don't have to explain everything. It doesn't all have to like break down to some logical reason. It's like this is for fun. This is superheroes are for fun. They wear costumes. They wear masks. They fight each other. It's like have a good story. Not everything has to be explained. Like Wolverine is a secret agent for the Canadian government. Like they have never touched on that much, but like he's protecting his identity, because there might be other guys out there with like 3 claws that pop out of their hands. So as long as he wears his mask, nobody's going to know that he's the one with the 3 claws that pop out of his hand.
Well, that's true. Since if this ends up being Wolverine from the multiverse, he might not be X-Men Wolverine. He could be, Canadian Agent Wolverine.
Yeah.
Or he could be Wolverine Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well,
because they did that comic book story too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is they've got an open playbook, I think, with what they can do. Marvel has seen their success without having Disney behind them. Like, I mean, Fox is kind of flailing and Deadpool was making huge money for them. So, like, Disney and Marvel both have got to look at Deadpool and be like, yeah, you're doing something right.
Right to ship.
Let them run with it and let them do what they want to do. They're letting them keep it R. They're letting them have, all the dirty jokes and curse words, which is not a Disney thing. So they're kind of giving them room to kind of be who they are. And boy, if they can really like dip into the whole X universe and make like a crazy, wild, fun story that integrates X-Men into the MCU now, who knows what's going to happen, but I think this is going to be a huge movie coming.
One of the downers of Deadpool is that with Deadpool 2, the reason that director who did Deadpool 1 didn't come back for Deadpool 2 is because he wanted it, because it was a big success, he wanted a bigger movie.
Yeah, he wanted to.
And Ryan Reynolds
that's where Reynolds is. Reynolds is a smart guy.
Yeah, he probably is like, no, this movie carries itself on the jokes.
Yep.
He goes, this isn't where we introduce the X-Force and we take it serious.
Yep.
We don't have the X-Force in Colossus fighting Juggernaut, and Deadpool's there too making jokes, blah, blah, Cable.
Reynolds knows,
this isn't an X-Men movie. This is a Deadpool movie.
Reynolds knows how the business works. It's like you keep your budget low. You over provide at the end for what people's expectations are, and then you make a huge profit because your budget was low. And that's kind of what the DCU problem was becoming, is their budgets were so high and then they kept getting lower and lower returns on their movies. And that's kind of what the main Marvel universe is running into now, is the budgets are still high, but they're not hitting those huge numbers that they used to be hitting. The numbers are starting to come down. And when your budget's high and your profits are low, guess what? That's a failure right now. Just ask Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Well, you have movies made a big jump in how much CGI they used.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess like for instance, like Justice League, the behind the scenes shots, it was all green screen. Like they weren't even shooting in like downtown Toronto or something.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
when Superman is reincarnated or resurrected,
Yeah.
it's all green screen. So everything is fake.
Yeah.
Everything is CGI.
And you're spending all that money on digital when you can just shoot it on a set somewhere. And
yeah, which is more of a headache for everyone, for the cast and for the crew. But so, I guess that's a learning curve. Like how far can they push the CGI so that it's easier to make a movie? And now they just realized, oh, this might be easier to make a movie when it's all fake and it's someone else doing everything. But you end up with a $200 million movie.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear that Doctor Strange? They touted, Disney kept touting that Doctor Strange was a $200 million movie, so it made $950, so it made money for them. It came out that with reshoots, Doctor Strange was a $350 million movie.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So it just broke even.
Yeah, and that's the thing is the studios never want to admit how much they spent making the money or making the movie because they want it to sound like it's profitable. They want it to sound like it was a hit. But then, if you really go through the numbers, a lot of these movies, they spent so much money on the budget that it's almost impossible to make a profit off of it. And that's the trouble they're running into. You really need a budget person. And that's where, like, James Gunn was announced, but like James Gunn and the Safran guy, Safran's his budget guy. So like they were announced together because that's a huge part of these movies being successful. It's keeping things under budget so you have a profit margin to hit. So Ryan Reynolds has been great doing that with the Deadpool movies. I think like with Thanos, they built Thanos up for so long. Ryan Reynolds has been building Deadpool versus Wolverine up for over a decade. Like
he's been trying so hard. Yeah.
He has been building this up. He's the one driving force behind this and making this happen. And when you have fans that are clamoring for it, you've been building it up. I think Deadpool 3 has a chance of like being bigger than Spider-Man No Way Home, which opened up the multiverse. And like you got like leaks about the characters and what was going to be in there, and it just built up the excitement for that. I think Deadpool 3 is going to be in line with that Spider-Man No Way Home type of movie, where it just kind of is this huge big hit, and the fans have been kind of clamoring for it for a while. So,
did you like Spider-Man No Way Home?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought the twist with Aunt May is what kind of like made that movie. You needed that emotional thing, and that was like they used Tobey Maguire and Andrew what's his face almost as distractions. You were like so excited about that, and then the Aunt May thing, and it was like, oh, and that was a gut punch. So I thought that was well done.
I can't get into them because they're so effing stupid. They're so stupid. Like, this is Spider-Man. Why isn't his villains? There's never any good like we had Vulture. Like Michael Keaton did an awesome job with Vulture.
Yeah.
But Venom should have been in Spider-Man. Carnage should have been in Spider-Man. Like when they make all these villain movies, you just like I don't know what to think. I kind of think like they don't give a shit about Spider-Man. They're like, oh look, we made money on Spider-Man again. Isn't that awesome?
There's so like much. There was so much going on behind the scenes though with Sony and Disney to make this happen.
Yeah.
That affects things, and Sony wants to keep a lot of those properties for themselves. I'm shocked that Sony hasn't announced like a new Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie with all of the Spider-Man villains that they've been like. They've been building up the Spider-Man villain movies, and at some point, Sony, they've already established a multiverse. Sony's going to do their own new version of Spider-Man that isn't in the Disney universe, and it's just a matter of when. I can't believe they haven't done it already, really, because that's just money to be printed for Sony, and Sony will do a mediocre job of it because they kind of always do, unless they get a good writer. But yeah, like that's I think why that happened is because it was this. I mean, that never happened. Sony let Disney use Spider-Man in their movies.
Yeah.
Just to have it be part of the MCU. So
Spider-Man is always so undefined. Like the story, it seems like it just wanders aimlessly. Like, oh hey, let's pull out the old Spider-Man because it seems like retro pulling stuff from the 80s and 90s is cool.
Yeah.
So we'll introduce the multiverse in this Spider-Man movie. Like you do have Spider-Man. Do you guys have like no confidence in Tom Holland to like actually create a Spider-Man franchise where you have the Spider-Man villains, and Spider-Man is fighting this? But like, I just think I just can you imagine if they did that with the Batman? They did that with Batman movies. The same,
and then trying to shove it into a Flash movie and make.
Well, no, because that was them trying to sell Flash by using Batman.
Yeah,
but
they had to because nobody was going to see Flash.
Yeah, in a Batman movie where you never saw any of the Batman, like they sparingly used the Batman villains, but not really that great, like kind of shitty, and not one. And the Batman movies never seem to really connect from one to the other.
Yeah,
it's just to see like so aimless. That's what's always been my problem with Spider-Man is those movies seem so non-connected and so aimless. To a big story, a big arc.
Yeah, there wasn't an overall arc other than
there's no feel. There's
him finding
his
and I didn't like.
Oh, like it's time to make another Spider-Man movie.
MCU. This was because it was the MCU, but they tied him so tightly to Iron Man in the first two movies.
Yeah,
and that just overshadowed. That was. But again, multiverse. This is the MCU movie Spider-Man, and like, guess what? There's going to be different Spider-Man that have come up. Guess what? There's going to be different there's going to be a different Iron Man and a different Captain America.
You gotta stop telling me about that. I hate the multiverse. So
in 10 years, they're going to relaunch all the stuff in 10 years because there's more money to be made.
New actors.
Guess what? Christopher Reeves isn't Superman anymore.
Oh, dude, I don't know why people hold him. Why do they hold Christopher Reeves Superman so high? Like, he did 2 good movies. The rest of them sucked.
Yeah, Superman but the first 2 were really good.
Shit. The first
2 were really good.
But they were how long ago? 77, 78?
Yeah, well, they were a little while ago.
They're like people talk about, oh, he's the best Superman. Really? Or was it because you watched it when you were 6?
But that's true of everything. Like, I don't think Tobey Maguire was the best Spider-Man by any means, but yeah, it just I mean, like, Christopher Reeves rings true to a lot of people, so I think that's probably more of it than anything. I mean, I really like Christopher Reeves as Superman. And speaking of Superman, we do have a bunch of new superheroes in the DC universe that was announced today, which this kind of surprised me.
Okay, this makes me a little nervous only because my wife, I watched the first season of The Rookie with the new guy Gardner. I'm blanking on his name.
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion. And The Rookie is super social justice warrior. And he's going to be playing Guy Gardner, who is the exact opposite of social justice warrior.
Right.
Makes me think that Guy Gardner is going to be super watered down. And
that's what I think. I've seen a few people mention that. And I get where they're coming from, but I also think James Gunn likes pushing envelopes a little bit.
No, he does. Suicide Squad had a lot of crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of. But
Peacemaker too. Peacemaker was nuts.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he is willing to push the envelope here. But with my good friend Nathan Fillion is the new Guy Gardner. Look at how young. Remember, my goatee wasn't always white. Look at that young bastard. But yeah, me and my good buddy Nathan Fillion, who is the new Guy Gardner in the next Superman movie. So here's me and him and his blue contacts, so that I'm not sure what he was going for there, but I'm sure you've gone to San Diego before, Rob, right?
I went once in 2003.
Okay.
I was like,
Did you see some celebrities there?
when I was away from my table, a friend of mine who was sitting at my table with me, she said that the older Wayans brother was walking
Oh,
around. She goes like, you just missed him. He was walking around, looked at your table, thought your stuff looked cool. My big San Diego 2003 story is that I had a guy from New Line Cinema asking me what was my schedule like, and I told him, "Oh, well, I'm working at CrossGen, so I'm exclusive." And I got elbowed by Andy Smith going, "Hey, idiot!" And I'm like, "What?"
tell them you're.
First you find out what they're offering, and then you tell
Yes.
them they're exclusive. Because if it's just a dude who wants to put a comic book together who happens to be he's got the New
Yes.
Line badge, then
Rob.
no big deal. He goes, but if he wants you to do some movie stuff, then you're not exclusive because you're at a comic book company. But you
Rob.
find out
Andy should
first.
not have to tell you that, Rob.
I had no idea.
Oh. This is why we're comic book artists and not businessmen.
This I always have glimpses of where my direction my career could have gone.
Yep.
Like when Steve Strauss couldn't get a hold of me to
Oh
help
yeah.
on Matrix storyboards.
That was a missed opportunity.
And you know that if I had worked with him on the storyboards, I would have jumped right into Awesome with him. And then after that, on to Wolverine. So,
yep. Opportunities were met.
what are you going to do?
No, nothing you can do. Just plow forward. But what this tells me about the Superman movie, this tells me a lot that Nathan Fillion is going to be Guy Gardner. This Isabella Merced is going to be Hawkgirl, and then Edie Gathegi, who I remember from X-Men.
Darwin.
Yep, yeah, the guy who couldn't be killed, who gets killed, who's the only black guy on the team. No irony there. Yep. Is going to be Mr. Terrific. So what this tells me is no Superman origin story. Thank God. First thing. It's not.
Oh, wait. Hollywood bullshit, though. How many times have we seen they make a big deal before the movie's ever made with all these actors in it and all these characters in it, and then if you go to the bathroom, you miss those characters because they're in it for 2 seconds.
Well,
so
and that's I think that will still be. I think that will still be the case. I think that'll still be the case. I think they're not going to be like the main part of the movie, but they're going to be in there. But it tells me it's not going to be a Superman origin story because you're not telling Superman's origin and then having. I think Superman's already going to be established. I think the Justice League is already going to be established, and these are going to be members from the Justice League that play a part in the story.
And it's just Justice League Justice Society showing up at the end to offer membership to Superman because it's one of his first big adventures.
Gunn has already said that it's the Justice League. It's from the Justice League International stuff, the Bwahaha League with Booster and Beetle and all those guys. So I think it's going to be. I think what they're going to do is it's going to be a young but established Superman. And if they're not going to tell an origin story, which I don't want to hear any part of Superman's origin in this movie. I want Clark Kent. I want Clark Kent to already working at the Daily Planet. The Lois Lane is a love interest, and that Superman is already doing stuff around the world. There's other superheroes already, and then what was it? Not Elongated Man. Metamorpho was mentioned today, an actor for Metamorpho. So you're getting like a cross cut of that late 80s, early 90s Justice League of America, Justice League International, where it was kind of a little bit more humorous in tone, but they had serious stories, but they'd have humorous stories. It's kind of where Blue Beetle and Booster Gold kind of made their name. But I like that. I like that a lot because I want to see, I think they're going to establish the DCU in the Superman movie, but Superman's going to be the focal point of it. But you're going to get some glimpses at there's already an established Justice League. It's not all the main tier guys, because obviously Guy Gardner is not a main tier Green Lantern. So, like, I like that idea of it. I could guess the plot because I've already heard that the Authority has been mentioned as being part of the movie. And like,
oh really? Oh wow.
Yeah. So I think the Authority is going to be like these jaded superheroes, and like Gunn is really pushed that he wants to establish Superman as a beacon of hope, truth, justice, the American way. And I think the Authority is going to be kind of like not necessarily the bad guys, but like this darker viewpoint. And like Superman kind of has to like show them what being a real superhero is all about, kind of.
One of the things I always liked about the first Superman movie by Zack Snyder was that he wasn't Clark Kent, really. Clark Kent Daily Planet bullshit. I always thought that was I hated the supporting cast. I just wanted to see him as Superman. I see Superman the way I see Spider-Man, where I want to see Spider-Man fighting his villains and doing
no way.
I hate Peter Parker.
I need my J. Jonah Jameson. I need my.
I don't like any of that. I don't like any of that. So
I need my Jimmy Olsen. I need my Perry. What's Perry's last name? I forget.
Now I liked Clark interacting with his parents, and I liked seeing him growing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't miss him not being the reporter crap at all.
Oh, and see, like that was
it's beneath him. I always thought that was beneath him. He's Superman. He should be like Bruce Wayne, just hanging out in a giant house.
There is no Bruce Wayne. Like Bruce Wayne is who sleeps at night when Batman, or during the day when Batman goes and runs through the night. That's what I like about Superman, is he is both characters. Like Clark Kent is a real fleshed out person, and Superman is who he becomes to save the world.
Did you ever watch Kill Bill with the guy, the main character, the main
Vibin' Gypsy?
I hated those characters. And I had to work on.
I on everything today.
I had to work on Vibe. She was in the Justice League. When I told Mark Bagley that, I'm like, our Justice League is Justice League Detroit.
Oh yeah.
And he just got all quiet on the phone, and he's like, "Why are you doing this to me, Rob?" Yeah. I lost my point, Rob Leonard. I know. I understand.
You hate everything. That was your point.
No. Well, no. The thing is when the main bad guy explains what Clark Kent is, and it's how Superman sees humans. He thinks humans are clumsy, weak. They're goofy, and that's why he came up with his cartoony version of trying to fit in with humans, which is Clark Kent, who's a moron, who's just a big goof moron, big sap. So when I heard that in Kill Bill, I was like, oh my god, that's so true. That's
just the
Clark Kent is.
That's Tarantino. Tarantino, who is like the most jaded, bitter writer of all time.
But I love that. I love that. That's how Superman sees humans. Yes. Like, and even in Smallville, someone brought up the point that Clark is the way he is in Smallville because he has to be so careful around humans, because if they even bump into him, it'd be like you or I walking straight into a steel beam. So he's got to totally like be walking around like, oh yeah, no, don't bump into me. I don't want to hurt you. You fragile little meat puppets. So
we need bigger boobs for a hot girl.
Well, they're going to put it in the costume.
Is this actress the girl who played Dora the Explorer?
What? No way. Is she?
Because she's from the Dora the Explorer movie as one of her other movie credits.
Oh.
But I didn't watch the movie. I remember the girl. Because she was kind of stacked for Dora. I remember a lot of people were posting pictures of her in her shirt, and it was like, That's Dora the Teenage Explorer, not the Dora the Young Girl Explorer.
Well, look at superhero costumes though. Look at even Wonder Woman's costume.
Yeah.
They just make it look like they've got boobs if they don't really have.
Oh yeah.
They don't have
So
much boobs.
that's the thing is I don't know if this is the actual actress who played Dora the Explorer, but anyways, throwing Hawk Girl in there, Hawk Girl and Mr. Terrific, it's and Metamorpho, like these are odd characters to have in the first Superman movie. Now the Nathan Fillion thing, Nathan Fillion and James Gunn are like this going back 30 years. Like what is it? The Slither movie.
Yeah, which is a great movie.
Yeah. And so like this rumor has been floating around forever that like Nathan Fillion was eventually going to play Green Lantern. I think everybody thought it was going to be Hal Jordan when he was still younger. Like Nathan Fillion's 52. Like he's my age.
He's my age.
So I'm thinking that's why they switched it to Guy Gardner, because then they can bring in a younger Hal Jordan. But like James Gunn wants to make sure Nathan Fillion's taken care of. So this is multiple movies. Like Nathan Fillion's going to appear in more than just this movie is the thing. So like James Gunn, even if it's just a glimpse of these guys, he's already going to be establishing other parts of the DCU in the main Superman movie. That's the first thing. So it might be like you said, blink and you miss them. But he's establishing it right away from the get-go. The first movie, he's going to start establishing the Justice League. He's establishing the Green Lanterns. He's establishing Thanagar, the Hawkman, and Hawkwoman. So there's world building already for the rest of the DCU just in this first Superman movie.
I do like that.
I like that. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. He's made a point of saying the main movie is about Clark and Lois and Superman. Like that's what the movie is about. But I think he definitely wants to establish the rest of the DCU, give you some teasers, some Easter eggs, get people excited about what's coming, which I think is smart.
Yeah, I don't know why Zack Snyder didn't do that in Superman. It just even a little bit. Yeah. Like they had to do that in the Batman movie. They had a retro do that scene where he was there when Zod attacked and stuff. Yeah. So it was kind of backpedaling. I don't like that.
Yeah. So here, let me pull up the Variety story and we take just a little bit of a look at what they're talking about here. But Superman Legacy writer-director and DC Studios co-chief James Gunn is expanding the new DC universe with 3 new actors joining the cast. Nathan Fillion, who was also, again, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 as one of the security guards on the alien planet, will play Guy Gardner, one of the figures known as Green Lantern. Isabella Mercedes, or Mercedes, however you pronounce that, from Dora the Explorer, Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Her last name is Merkid.
Merkid, is it? I want to say Mercedes for some reason, but so she'll play Hawk Girl. And so the interesting thing with the Hawk Girl is we just had Hawkman in Black Adam,
and he was cool.
Yeah. Oh, I thought like they played Hawkman to spin him off into his own movie from the Black Adam movie. They made Hawkman as cool as hell with that actor. So it'll be interesting because I get a feeling James Gunn is going to be like pick and choose stuff he wants to take. So does he want to take that actor from Hawkman and keep him? Or are they going to start from scratch? Same with the Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle movie they're trying to sell as part of this universe. Are they going to keep those actors for another Blue Beetle movie? Like, that'll be the interesting thing in the next couple of years is to see if they do pick and choose from some of the old cast from these movies or if they completely recast stuff, if they do make sequels, if they bring Hawkman back, stuff like that.
Well, look at it, man. The Rock movie was 2.5 hours of introducing,
Yeah. They
Black
established the
Adam.
Justice Society of America right there.
So yeah, exactly. So it's like, why do you have to like then pretend that didn't exist?
Yeah.
I mean, it was completely separate from everything else, except for we did see Amanda Waller, but we even saw the big prison.
Well, that's
There's
the
lots of
thing.
villains
I
that were locked
guarantee
up.
you. Yeah, I guarantee you, he's keeping Amanda Waller because she's in his Suicide Squad movies.
So I don't know. Yeah, they might have bitched and moaned that it didn't make as much money, but then here comes this year, and all the movies
Black Adam did a lot better than the
dying.
Flash did.
Yeah, exactly. I liked it. I liked the Black Adam movie. So I don't, I mean,
because I guarantee. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
I was going to just say that they tried to sell the Flash movie as a complete reset, and it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
Ezra Miller killed that movie. Ezra Miller killed that movie. That was the problem with the Flash. Is Ezra Miller killed that movie. But I guarantee they're keeping the actress that plays Amanda Waller. James Gunn and her, like, they've worked together already. James Gunn is going to try and keep all that cast from the Suicide Squad. He's going to do more stuff with Cena.
Yeah, isn't there going to be another Peacemaker?
Yeah,
series?
There's supposed to be a season 2 of Peacemaker. He's going to want to work with those actors. What another big thing that'll be interesting is, because I'm guessing Margot Robbie has fulfilled her contract for Harley Quinn. She's appeared 3 times as Harley Quinn in movies, and it's usually 3 movie contracts with big actors like that.
Oh, so, yeah, and because her own Harley Quinn movie blew chunks.
Yeah, she botched that one herself. That was on her, I think. She was executive producer on that, and she tried to go woke and feminista, and everybody wanted to see the Harley Quinn from the first Suicide Squad movie. If she would have played that right, she could have been as big as Deadpool. Because Harley Quinn Harley Quinn, when you do it right, is as hot a character as Deadpool is. And I think she got a bunch of people in her ear that are telling her, "Oh, you gotta be a female spokesperson." And it's like, that's not, people aren't going to pay good hard-earned money to watch some feminist agenda movie.
Yeah, to be preached at for 2 hours.
Yeah. So
I really, can you imagine if they had brought in Jared Leto too? If it was
as the Joker.
Yeah. Just, a movie of them, chaos. That movie would have been fantastic. Yeah. It's too bad.
But what I think will happen is that they're going to recast Harley.
Yeah.
They'll recast Joker. I still don't know exactly what they're doing with Batman. It sounds like they're using the Batman and Damian storyline, which I don't know if that's the greatest idea, is to bring Batman and have his kid in there, because the thing is, once you bring a kid in as a son, it's the Mummy 2.
Yes.
It was a good movie, but the kid ruined it. And it's all of a sudden you date the parents, you age the parents. It's like nobody wants to watch a movie about somebody's parents and their little kid. Like everybody wants to watch movies where the people are still single and fun.
Especially when you've convinced people our age to wait till streaming. Yeah. So if you want the 20 and 30-year-olds and the teenagers to go to the movie, don't have a kid. Don't have a kid involved in the story. Don't give Batman a kid.
I think having Damian there is a terrible idea. It's like Batman and Superman. They shouldn't have kids. It's just you're always playing to the younger generation. And it's like, once you start aging these characters, then you have to relaunch them. And that relaunch always takes a little bit of a shine off the characters. Like, these characters are supposed to stay in a certain age frame. Like Peter Parker should never be all the way out of college. Peter Parker should always be in like his freshman, sophomore year of college, stumbling around, trying to get to class on time, trouble with girls. Like, he should never be engaged, never should be married, none of that shit. It's like,
well, definitely never have kids. The engagement should never get to marriage. And if you want do a lot of characterization and story growth, that's what the villains are for, dude. You
Oh
want your
yeah,
character to always relate to the new generation and be the same for the people that are continuing to read them. I mean, dude, if you go like what's your favorite run of X-Men? Would it be like the Claremont with Byrne or Jim Lee?
Oh, well, Claremont with Byrne is my favorite. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
So can you go to a comic book store and pick up X-Men right now and go, oh, look, it's my X-Men?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's nothing even close. I don't even know who is on the X-Men team right now. It's all a bunch of weirdos and whatever. It's garbage.
Exactly. It should be the same effing characters.
Yeah, no,
villains.
like
just expand the villains. Same characters, man. Their
adventure stories and their adventure stories set within the same time frame.
Yep.
And it loops back every, whatever. It's like Peter Parker gets held back in college if that happens.
Peter Parker's college life is 40 years.
Like Peter Parker should never be walking with his cap and gown and getting his first job at like some sign, and they've done that multiple times.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, he married MJ, and then they had to jump through all these hoops to try and unmarry him from MJ and all this bullshit. And it's like that's the problems you run into, and all you're doing is screwing over future writers of the character. Because guess what? And it's the ego of these writers that always screws them up. Because the ego of the writer always tells them, I'm writing the definitive Spider-Man right now. I'm writing the definitive Superman right now. And I'm going to give my character that I'm writing, I'm going to give him a proper ending. It's like, no, there's no ending. Because guess what? The book's coming out next month. You're not going to be on it. And there's going to be new Superman and Spider-Man stories. And it just shows you any writer who does that is a bad writer because they're short-sighted and selfish. It's like
you're always lazy too. They don't want to read
lazy. Because you couldn't come up with a good action adventure story. You did something with his life to like put your own spin on it. And it's like, no, the point of you is writing a fun action adventure story and then leaving the character just the way you found it so the next writer can write a fun action adventure story. And it's lazy, poor writing by these writers. So that's my thoughts on that.
No, I'm right there with you, man.
So let me go through a little bit more of so Guncast David Cornsweat. So I'm just calling him Cornsweat from now on because that's the easiest way. And it makes sense. Like you're out in your Kansas field, you're a farmer, you're picking corn, it's hot out, you got corn sweat going on. So it makes sense that his name is Cornsweat. And the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which everybody I talk to, this is not my type of show, but everybody I talk to raves about the show. My sister loves the show. So Rachel Brosnahan, I'm guessing, is a pretty good actress and can play a kind of tough as nails Lois Lane, which is what you want out of your Lois Lane.
Yeah, fast talking.
Yeah. So Peter Safran, and like he's the guy that's under the radar, but he's the guy that's probably the most important because he's looking at the budget and all of these things.
He's James Gunn's manager or agent or something.
He's the money guy. So him.
But that's what he used to be, though.
Yeah. And so he's going to be the one that's like, let's bring this in low budget. This is what we can spend, and this is what's going to make it profitable. And that's like, as you get older, you realize that's how successful movies are made. You focus on the story, have a good story, keep your budget low, gives your movie a big chance to be profitable, and that's how you get sequels. Like dumping all this, like Disney is dumping all of this money into these latest Marvel movies because they know they have a shit story. They know the story's garbage, so let's splash CGI, let's splash all this stuff. We'll spend money. It's going to make money. It has been working, but it's starting to stop working for Marvel. And it always kind of ends up that way. Okay, so here's Fillion's connection. Fillion has often appeared in Gunn films, starting with the filmmaker's 2006 horror comedy Slither. His character Gardner will be one of several people in the new DC universe to wear the Emerald Ring, that imbues its wearer with the powers of the Green Lanterns. And so Lanterns is still set to be a streaming series for Max, which I could still see that changing because the whole HBO Max streaming thing, that's still on the old regime. So it'll be interesting to see if Lantern stays on Max or if it does get developed into a big screen movie, because to put something out right on streaming, you're losing that theatrical window money, which doesn't make any sense, especially with as big a project as Green Lantern. So that's something I could see changing as Gunn kind of starts steering everything in the kind of the direction that's going to be the most money making for them. But yeah,
well, like HBO is $15 a month, and see, it's funny because this is actually interesting that we're co-hosts, because I see theaters dying. Yeah. So I could see them moving forward and keeping Lanterns on HBO Max for streaming, because dude, if you had to bet, the 50-50 bet, would you bet that in 5 years theaters are still booming or making money, or streaming is bigger than ever? What would you bet on?
What I would bet is it's about what it is right now, and it's still a money-making window.
It's not. It's not. There's too many movies that bombed. When you look at a movie theater that has 20, how now they're all big and there's like 15 to 20 theaters in a movie theater. I don't think they are making money. I know a lot of those movies like Regal and AMC, the really big ones that were going bankrupt because of COVID, they're still in trouble. They're still getting ready to go into bankruptcy. And I know a bunch of people on Twitter have said that the Regals near them have closed.
Oh, okay.
And I know AMC took out big loans to remodel and, put in all the big chairs and
all the recliner stuff. Yeah.
Right before COVID. So I think they're disappearing. I don't think the people can hold the theaters up anymore. I think they're now going to implode. They got to their biggest they could be, and then between COVID and then what is it? But now 2 years of bad movies. I mean, we can name
Super Mario Brothers. COVID hurt the production on all these movies, so
yeah,
it's like.
But
I wouldn't say
Maverick.
We're fully. Yeah, Maverick.
We've had Maverick, Super Mario Brothers, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Maverick filmed before COVID and was filming. Like Maverick sat and waited all through COVID.
Yes, but I mean for the theater, money for the theaters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because theaters, if no one's watching the movies, they're not selling their $12 popcorn, and their $10 soda, and that's what their business model is based on.
Oh yeah, they're making money off the concessions. That's where their money's from.
Yeah. So I've gone to too many movies lately, and there's 12 people.
Yeah.
In the theater. So I would if I had to bet. I would bet
like how
streaming.
It used to be. Yeah, it is. It's. I don't know enough about it to like hazard a guess. Like you said, everything you said is like, yeah, it might be the writing on the wall for the theater. They've been around for so long though that it's such an established part of society.
You would be surprised.
And the thing is the money is there to be made if you put out product that people want to see. I think again, this is a problem of Hollywood. Is Hollywood wants to do these nose in the air, award-winning. They'd rather spend all their money on that crap that has no return at the box office. They hate all these big budget blockbusters, but they do it because it keeps the theaters open. I think if Hollywood like just says to hell with theaters because we can do our pretentious bullshit on streaming and still keep ourselves afloat, then it's going to be something outside of Hollywood. Like you're going to need like producers and production companies outside of Hollywood to make these movies for the theaters, because Hollywood has always kind of hated the stuff that sells across America. So I don't know. That one I can't predict.
Well, I've seen, just where I live, the area I live, I've seen a movie theater go out of business, become a dealership, and then the dealership go out of business. So, literally
it's
just
tough
watch.
It's tough all over right now. Like COVID might be over, but there's people that haven't recovered from COVID yet with their business. COVID dug deep and in ways that people weren't expecting, and it hit them in their pocketbooks. And like people are still trying to there's still like all sorts of restaurants like just begging for people to come back to work and stuff. So,
well, I mean, it's not only that the government handed out a bunch of business loans that are now due. They're finally the payments are now due. So there's a lot of businesses that never recovered, and now they have these big payments that they're supposed to make. So we'll see even more businesses this year and next year go bankrupt. So
yeah.
And I'm wondering which one of those are going to be our beloved movie theaters.
Well,
that's what I'm afraid of. I love going to the movies. I'm not saying this because I don't like movie theaters. I just saying that COVID convinced us to stay at home and stream and save $40 on food. I could get a pizza for $20 instead of spending $40 at the movie theater with my wife for dinner. That's that's half the cost. So, and I don't have kids. I see the family with kids, and they all have popcorn and they all have their little chicken finger dinners and stuff. And I'm just like, well, there's $120.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, you're paying through the nose for. It's like I always sneak my candy in my pockets.
That's what I used to do, dude. I once snuck in cheeseburgers into Private Ryan, and I start eating my cheeseburgers, and then the first scene is the boat scene where they're all getting D-Day, and I'm just like, I can't eat these cheeseburgers.
And you snuck cheeseburgers into the movie theater.
Well, Saving Private Ryan came out in the wintertime. So I had a big winter coat on because I was living in New York City at the time. So I could just put cheeseburgers in my pockets. It was like McDonald's cheeseburgers. So I went to a movie Monday night at like 10 o'clock at night. So I knew it was going to be empty. So, I just get a drink and I'm eating McDonald's cheeseburgers. And I'm going, oh man, this is the wrong movie to have cheeseburgers. Those poor soldiers getting machine gunned. So.
Yeah, that's gonna ruin your appetite real fast.
Yeah, so that's my Private Ryan story.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, this guy's gonna be Metamorpho.
I know. Well, I mean, it seems like a pretty good, pretty good casting. So, do you recognize the actor?
Was he in the Meth TV show?
The which one?
Was he? Oh, I'm sorry. Was he one of the bad guys in that Meth TV show, with the dying guy chemist teacher who was making meth, or was he a bad guy in the serial killer TV show?
No, see, you got me. I really don't know who this guy is. I know he's an established actor in something else, so I was hoping you might actually know.
Well, I sometimes.
Plastic Man's trending, so I wonder if Plastic Man got announced.
Oh God, I don't want to see a Plastic Man movie. Who cares?
Well, and I'm starting to worry about how many characters they're sticking in this Superman movie. Here's four. You got Guy Gardner, you got Hawk Girl, you got Mr. Terrific, and you got Metamorpho in a Superman in your first Superman movie, which is reestablishing Superman and Lois Lane. And the whole, whatever. So that's a lot of characters already, and oddball character. And this is what I said to somebody else about James Gunn is I don't know that he's the best person to have on your Superman movie.
I watched I watched an interview where he said that he was intimidated to make a Superman movie until he finished the script.
Okay.
And so he thinks that he ended up writing a great Superman script. So
Yeah.
now he's not worried.
And I hope he did. I absolutely 100. I want to see a great Superman movie, but his strong suit is oddball characters, oddball groups of misfits who like come
Yes.
together and become family. Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy, all of his characters. There's going to be dick and fart jokes in there. Like that's his strong suit. That's what he's done, and that's what he's had success with. That is not a Superman movie. Now you start taking Guy Gardner, you start taking Metamorpho, start taking some of these oddball characters. Like I know he's already talked to Momoa about playing Lobo. Now you got Guy Gardner, who's an outer space character, Lobo, outer space bounty hunter. What did he have huge success with at Marvel? Guardians of the Galaxy and outer space alien characters. So I think he's going to do this first Superman movie. I think he's going to plant the seeds for the rest of the MCU. He's going to like pick his actors and characters out that he wants to do these other movies. But I see him gravitating. Like Lobo seems perfect for James Gunn. Like Lobo seems like the perfect character for James Gunn to direct and write. You got Momoa, who's already a huge star. Nathan Fillion's played 2 characters in the DCU now, so Momoa can too, even though he was Aquaman already. But yeah,
are we seeing all these releases just because both movie companies are so desperate for press? Because their shit has sucked.
There's that, but their shareholders, Zaslan has been like getting skewered. Like Hollywood hates Zaslav. Is it Zaslav? I'm probably pronouncing
Zaslav.
Yeah, Zaslav. Because what he did was he came in and he cut all these shows that were redeveloped. He pissed off a ton of people. Like all these people.
Yeah, he did.
All these people were like taking a ton of money and underproducing. They were spending all this money to make these movies, and these movies were coming out, and they weren't making any money for Warner Brothers. His job at Warner Brothers is to come in, make money. What did he do before he came here? He did low budget reality TV show that were huge hits that made a ton of money for their networks. So he's a guy that's like, we're not going to spend money. We're going to make money. We're not going to spend a ton of money on the production of the movie. We're going to make movies that people are going to be excited about. We're going to keep the budgets low, and we're going to make them profitable. And I think that's the number one priority he gave Gunn and Safran. Gunn knows how to do it. Gunn came from indie movies. Like that first Slither movie, that was a low budget comedy horror movie. That put him on the map because that movie made money and it was low budget.
Now we're children of the 80s and 90s, teenagers of the 90s, or 20-year-olds in the 90s. We've seen low budget superhero movies. They effing suck. Do you want to see low budget DC movies? I remember how many Punisher movies I've seen that sucked and they were all low budget.
How much what do you think the budget of Iron Man was? The first Iron Man movie.
Oh,
think about how much he showed up in the suit, and then there was the battle at the end. That was the CGI was for the battle at the end. The rest of that movie.
They spent money on that though. They said they got treated
crazy money, but crazy money.
But Favreau said that it was nice to have a solid budget, but be treated like a small studio movie because they left him alone.
Yeah,
but they gave him money. It was like a $90 million movie.
Yeah, right? and that's the thing is like you can spend $100 million and have a well produced movie. What you can't do is spend. You can't spend $250 to $300 million and then have to make $700 million just to see a profit. That's what they're trying to avoid.
Let's compromise. Let's make a $150 million movie because like Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 had lots of stuff in it.
Yeah.
I like that movie. When I walked out of the theater when I watched Iron Man 1, I really didn't like Iron Man until I had seen it a couple of times, because you didn't get to see him in the Iron Man suit really. You got to see like a sick Wolverine. You got to see a sick Iron Man suit because he was using the other power source. So
Oh,
that
right. Yeah.
sucked. The main ending was that. Originally, the ending was, the scene where they're flying up into the air, him against the bad guy, and
Yeah.
the bad guy freezes up.
Yeah.
That was the end
Oh,
fight of the
right.
fight,
Yeah.
and it didn't test well. So then they had to do reshoots, which meant they didn't spend 90 million on the movie. They spent more on it because
Yeah.
they had to do that big scene on the roof.
Yep. On the roof of the glass, and Piper helps him.
Yeah. So I'm afraid because I watched the Batman, and that movie sucked, and it felt like a CW TV show.
It was so long.
It was $80 million. I mean, it was like an $80 million budget. And you're just like, oh, yeah, I know.
That's the thing. But that's the thing is,
Batman with his costume and a backpack driving around on a motorcycle. Screw that movie.
But
yes,
they're not getting rid of those Batman movies because $80 million budget, easy for me to say.
Yeah,
over 700 million profit.
Can you trick the Batman fans to watch it another one that cheap? I don't know if you can trick them.
Yeah.
I don't know. You definitely can't trick me to go to
somehow that movie struck a chord. It did.
I don't know how.
You can't argue with how well it did. And the thing is because it was so long, it doesn't play in the theaters as many times, and it still made that much money.
Yeah.
So I don't know, something about it sold, and maybe it was all the 30-year-old Twihards
yeah.
coming out of the woodwork for Edward. But I think it was him, that actor, and Zoe Kravitz. I think people liked the two of them with the Batman Catwoman dynamic. I think that was part of what sold it, because it was all. It's like you got your superheroes, so you got your guys, and then you got the romance between Edward and Zoe Kravitz, so that brings in the girls, and like I think when you got that. You get your action for your guys, you get your romance for the girls, that starts hitting your 4 quadrants, which is what puts asses in seats. And I think that had more to do with it as opposed to how good of a Batman movie it was. So, and I would guess they'll copy the same formula for the next one because they want to keep making them. So.
They want to keep those budgets under 100 million.
We got a few more people showing up in the chat. What's up, SF Gaming? Appreciate everybody being in here tonight. Randy in the house. If you guys haven't been here before, definitely hit that like and subscribe for the channel. We're kind of building this up as we go. Me and Rob usually hit Sunday nights with Comic Smack Talk Live. We're taking a Wednesday tonight just because there was so much stuff going on, so much fun stuff to talk about. New Wolverine suit. Yep.
There's no pontificators. We weren't. Without pontificators. So it gave us a chance to talk.
Good opening for us to. And I mean, there was just a lot of stuff. I wanted to talk about the Wolverine suit.
Mm-hmm.
I like it overall. I think there could have been tweaks made to it, but I'm not going to complain for having gotten hosed out of good Wolverine movies and a Wolverine costume. Like, I have faith in Ryan Reynolds. Like, this Ryan Reynolds, that dude is a lot smarter than I thought he was. Because there's not anything he's doing right now that isn't turning to gold. Like,
he's a smart guy.
Yeah, he could end his movie career tomorrow, and that guy would be making millions and millions of dollars between the Wrexham, between the Aviator Gin, between Mint Mobile. And, like, these are moves that Hollywood actors don't normally make.
Yeah, he already sold the. Here's something crazy. This was on Twitter, and it was that he had updated his LinkedIn to show that in 1995 he was a forklift operator. So, in comparison, in 1995 he's a forklift operator. Now he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. in comparison, I was working part-time at Marvel, and I made more in 1995 than I have in the last 2 years. So he has done everything right, and I have done everything wrong in comparison.
Try to emulate Ryan Reynolds' trajectory.
Yes. But dude, it's like when I read that, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I've done everything wrong.
Well, and the thing about Ryan Reynolds is I will always go back to Two Men in a Pizza Place. Two guys, a girl in a pizza place. That was the first place I spotted him. And he jumped off the screen because he was funny. Like he delivered, like it was right away. It was like, oh, that guy, I like that guy, you know.
Yeah.
Like I like the whole cast, but like Ryan Reynolds was like, oh yeah, you like, and that's the thing is like, Chris Pratt on Parks and Recreation. Like there's those guys that like kind of just like they're not even the main character, but they steal every scene they're in, and like,
they have that X factor. If they're at a party, everybody's surrounding them.
Yep,
yeah,
they all gravitate towards. Yep.
Yeah, my brother's that way. Everybody will gravitate towards him, and I'll sit in the background. I'll sit in the back drinking.
Nobody likes Raw.
But so yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, right from the beginning, because I watched Two Guys, Girl in a Pizza Place, and that was what was the whole TV show was him.
Oh,
he was the other guy was
the other guy was his sidekick, but he was just kind of straight man. He was a straight man.
He was a straight man, and then the girl was cute enough.
Randy, are you telling me that not as many people are watching me and Rob as EVS right now? Because I have a hard time believing that.
What?
Me and Rob raked it in over here.
Next thing you're going to tell me, Randy, is that I didn't have all of EVS's fans picking up Death Raider. I wouldn't have noticed that one either.
That's all right.
EVS's fans are EVS's fans. So right now they're watching EVS. Wouldn't it be weird if EVS's fans were watching us? I'd be like, what's going on? Something's wrong.
Yeah. But that's the thing. And that's the thing with Comicsgate right now is there's stuff going on all the time.
Yeah.
Like you can't worry about streaming against somebody else because there's always going to be people streaming and there's always going to be big names streaming because there's always action going on with Comicsgate. It's a great thing about it. A lot of people catch us on the rewinds. I check my views after the show. We pick up a ton of people on the rewind. So I appreciate all you guys that if you can't make it here live, all you guys that are watching on the rewind, it's awesome.
Yes,
hit that like and subscribe. This channel is building and we're getting more views with every show. I appreciate everybody being here. It's just fun bullshitting about all the comic stuff that's going on. And there's like this was a great week. There was a ton of exciting stuff going on. Like I'm looking forward to seeing a live action in film Metamorpho. Because like look at all the cool stuff they did in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like you can do some wild stuff with Metamorpho in like Superman movie. And Guy Gardner, that's the other thing is how are they gonna portray Guy Gardner?
Oh,
are they gonna make him really Guy Gardner? Because I think James Gunn might. James Gunn pushes the envelope. We talked about this a little bit. And with the polarization of politics, Guy Gardner is like a Republican. He is a hard right Republican. And a lot of liberal comic writers like picking on him about that. And, oh, Batman one punch, haha, laugh at him, whatever. But Guy Gardner is a character that struck a chord with a lot of comic book fans out there. And a lot of liberal writers did not like that. But
no, he's a guy's guy.
Yep,
he's like straight from like 1950s.
Yep, Guy Gardner's a tough guy, and he's not gonna like sugarcoat any crap for you.
No,
he's not gonna candy ass around like some of the superheroes do. So I've got some faith that James Gunn will write Guy Gardner kind of true to form, because otherwise, like just another generic Green Lantern isn't that interesting. Like if you're picking Guy Gardner, you're kind of picking him for a reason. Because if you want just vanilla Green Lantern, you throw Hal in there. You throw a younger character as Hal. And the thing is look at the actor.
Or Kyle.
Yep.
Kyle's a shit.
Oh yeah, you can throw Kyle in there, and Kyle could be as vanilla as hell.
He can be total 20-year-old retard.
Yep.
I hated that. I always hated that character. Yeah. I hated Kyle. I like
he's one of the few. Guy. He's one of the few characters I got to draw at DC. So
did you like him?
I liked getting a DC Green Lantern story with Kyle in it that I was getting to draw. I hated that stupid mask. Daryl Banks. Oh man, I hated that mask Kyle wore.
When they told me that he's a Green Lantern who's an artist, so he's gonna make more interesting constructs, I was like,
"That's so cheesy."
Sounds like a giant pussy.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I'm like, he's gonna be a bitch. He's gonna be drawing birds and butterflies and bullshit with like that with his.
Yeah, that was not. It was not great. But see, but again, that's what makes me think. And then look at the actor. Like Fillion is James Gunn's buddy. Yeah. So Gunn is gonna want to give Nathan Fillion something fun to do as a role. It's not gonna just be, and like Nathan can play both sides. He can play the goody two shoes, or he can play the badass. Like,
or this is a joke on all of us, including his buddies, where they show up at the end credits for 30 seconds.
But again, and I'm not expecting much more than that. I'm expecting, because if the main movie is going to be about Superman, then all you're doing is establishing some of these other characters in that the greater DCU. So it could be just an end credit. I wouldn't think they'd announce all of these actors if it was just an end credit.
They have to. They have to have us forget about Flash.
Well, that's part of what all these announcements are about, is like forget about the Flash that is already going to digital and direct streaming because it lost us $250 million. So a lot of this is PR spin, and like they want to get away from the whole Snyderverse, Jeff Johns, Hamada, the old regime. They want to get past that stuff and move on to their own stuff and try and have some of these movies get some hype and success. So a lot of this is just PR and trying to move on to the next thing. So I agree with that.
Oh, can we, for Logan, can we get $50 million to make the Logan movie the way it should be made? We could have CGI Reavers.
Well, this is what I would
Wolverine
say.
Not sick. Don't even show the New Mutants at all.
This is what I would say, though, is if this movie can be the moneymaker that the MCU wants it to be, and like Marvel is going to bring the X-Men into the MCU at some point, like there's no reason, like it'll be expensive because Hugh's going to ask for money. But if you're not going to recast Wolverine right away, like Disney can sign Hugh Jackman to another 3-movie deal. There's no reason they couldn't. And I mean, so you've got the old Wolverine, but a multiverse, and you can do new stories with them. So I don't think more Wolverine Hugh Jackman movies are out of the question.
What if we don't see Hugh Jackman come back? You see how the guy that they hired to be the new Superman looks a lot like Henry Cavill.
Oh, totally.
And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of Australian actors that look like Hugh Jackman.
Well, that's true too.
They could just they could just recast.
Yep, and that's the thing, is it'd be way cheaper, and that's 100% what they did with Corn Sweat. Is we've got a guy he's Corn Sweat forever now.
Corn Sweat.
We've got a guy that's as handsome as Cavill, and we can get him for like 1/10 the price. We can sign him for a 3-movie deal,
and he's going to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah,
Cavill's a big nerd,
and it's going to be profitable because Cavill's played Superman in 3 movies already. All these guys have agents. There's specific numbers they need to hit. So
Yeah,
that was
and
that's
Cavill
100%. Like nobody
Cavill
wanted to
walked
get rid
away
of
from Witcher.
Cavill because of his acting. Like people loved him as
No.
Superman, but he was going to ask too much.
Well, not only get paid too much, he now has the confidence and the experience to voice concerns.
No, yeah, like
which is
I
like with Witcher, which is why he walked away from Witcher.
Yeah. You start questioning like these guys are just taking over the DCU. They've got big enough headaches already without the main actors starting to tell them how they want the movie to be.
Yeah,
it's like
they don't the way
they want newbie actors that are going to be like yes, whatever you need kind of thing, and so all that plays together, and is as much as I enjoyed Cavill as Superman. Like the writing was on the wall between all the different things, his age, the money he would be asking for, and then him wanting input on stuff. And I get it. Like when you're playing a role like that for that long, you kind of want to put your own imprint on it too. But that's not what the directors and the producers want. The people that are footing the money and that are running the show. Like no boss wants their employee telling them how they should be running the company. So
No, it's true.
But they did fridge Kyle's girlfriend, starting this whole woke mess.
That's how it started? It started with her in the refrigerator. Huh?
Well, and then it wasn't that led to Gail Simone.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so they and it was Ron Mars who wrote it, who's one of the biggest wokies out there. So, but Ron Mars wrote the fridging of Kyle's girlfriend, and he's a big woke writer, and I don't even know if he's still doing anything. And then Gail Simone,
is Ron a woke writer, or is Ron survivor? Like he'll become whatever he needs to keep
and most comic writers will. Most comic book writers are whoever their editor needs them to be.
Yeah.
That's I've realized that over time is like you're never gonna.
Uh-oh.
Lost me. I'm back. You there, Rand? You there?
You are. So you're telling me for 15 seconds you froze and I just sat here.
I was all I had was spinning wheels for a little bit. So if you could still see me, you were still there.
Well, you paused, and I thought it was me because I have the cable that.
Oh no!
I shuts off.
Yep, I think you were there. I think it was me that got knocked off. So
people watched me for 15 seconds looking around.
Well, and Randy's
awesome.
got a good point here, because I think Feige has lost the way these last couple of years. Like it has been Marvel has been rudderless since the end of Endgame. They had Spider-Man No Way Home, that was a huge hit that people liked. Multiverse of Madness underperformed and had a lot of critics. Thor Love and Thunder made money but was an awful movie. And I think
it was horrible.
I think Thor Love and Thunder was the classic example of people it was all of the goodwill from earlier Marvel movies, people just showing up. But that movie was, I think Hemsworth hated that movie. Like he basically said, if we're going to do more Thor movies, it needs to have a different tone. Like I think he hated the stupid goofball tone.
No. He hated it when it didn't make $1 billion.
It made good money. Like financially, Thor: Love and Thunder was a hit for Marvel. But
they don't talk about it as being a hit. They only brought up.
I've seen it. That was their biggest movie of the year. It made way more money than Multiverse of Madness.
Oh God, it was.
I don't have the box office. I don't have the box office pulled up, but yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder was financially a big hit for the MCU, and it kind of scraped them through. And now Ant-Man underperformed, and that last Ant-Man, I was
I
not a fan
like
of it.
I liked it, but I could just go, why is the quantum verse just like weird Star Wars cartoon?
The
That it
Quantum
was so
Verse was
weird.
just another corner of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. It looked
Yes.
exactly the same. It was like, okay, let's make the Ant-Man movies look like Guardians of the Galaxy is a big hit.
Yeah.
The first two Ant-Man movies haven't done that good. What can we do? Let's put Ant-Man in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. That's all that movie was to me.
But what I liked the most about Quantumania was they got rid of Kang's time. I've mentioned this before, that weird time reset
Yeah.
thing. And they put him in a suit, and he pretty much was just like a more powerful Iron Man, which I thought was them trying to course correct, because that damn Loki show was so awful. And it was the whole time stuff. It made well, I mean, when Loki started, when you had the Infinity Gems that we've been told for a decade are super powerful, and they're in a drawer, you're just like,
oh yeah,
that was the beginning of the end for the Marvel universe, because that was all these new writers who know nothing about the comic books literally shitting on everything that came before them. Like,
and that's
oh,
all.
we're so great, we can do anything we
That's
want.
all that's been happening with the
Yeah.
MCU lately is that they're not tying it to the comic book universe anymore. You're getting a bunch of Hollywood writers that are just like, oh, we'll do whatever we want.
They
because
hate comics.
Hollywood people always think they're better than the source material. Always. They don't want to respect the source material. They look at it like as a joke. And so
and Loki was very Doctor Who-ish in a terrible way.
Yeah, I didn't
jumping
like a
around
lot of
time
people.
and stuff.
I know Loki had its fans. I didn't think Loki was great.
So bad.
The Disney Plus stuff, none of the Disney Plus stuff has been that good. Like,
at least Hawkeye was Hawkeye. You know what I mean?
But that was just a nothing show. Like,
no, it was nothing.
That whole show was just to introduce the young girl as the second Hawkeye, and like, she literally is like a teenage girl that's like practiced archery, but now we can make her a superhero. Like, that whole Hawkeye series was ridiculous. Captain America or Falcon and Winter Soldier underwhelmed.
Oh, so preachy, dude!
It was so preachy. It was so
not only was it super preachy, it was stupid.
Well, and I was cheering when U.S. Agent killed that dude, and I was only pissed that he didn't get the little redhead that actually killed his partner. And like, all of a sudden, we're supposed to feel bad and that this guy's the bad guy because they just killed his partner and like he killed one of them. It's like, oh man, that was garbage.
And they all had super strength.
Yeah, they all had super
strength. Hey, how stupid are you that someone gives you, like, dude, you got super strength. People can still shoot you though. Well, then let me go get some body armor, because now I'm bulletproof and I'm super strong, so I don't even have to worry about the impacts.
With having that's the part with having Falcon as Captain America. Other than that, he's already Falcon and doesn't need to be Captain America.
He's not strong enough.
He's not strong enough to throw that shield like he is. Like, literally, that shield would take his arms off coming back. And like, yeah, you can fly and you have the shield, but you can't fight somebody. Like, watch Cap whip some of those security guards in full body armor around and watch as their body hits the concrete. Like, that would be Falcon in every one of those fights. Like, it just,
yeah. They tried. They had his wings would do a wing
like
shield
throw assist. They have the turbo jets or something, but it's still just.
There's no point to it. Why are you doing that? Why are you spending all that CGI?
Yeah, unless Sam gets like super soldier serum of his own, which then totally deviates from what his character is. Yeah, I don't know. There's just like MCU is like dropped off significantly since Endgame. I was a fan of Spider-Man No Way Home. I did like Multiverse of Madness. I thought it was an interesting, fun movie. Thor Love and Thunder was garbage. Ant-Man didn't do much for me. Guardians of the Galaxy was good. It's been a real hit or miss since Endgame, and none of these movies are making the money that they used to make. So
no, they haven't.
like
No.
I think Deadpool Wolverine, Deadpool 3, like if that is a hit the way they want it to be a hit, I could see. I think they'd be smart to do more stuff with Ryan Reynolds. I think they'd be smart to do and figure out how they're going to integrate X-Men into the MCU. Like they haven't clearly stated how any of that. And I don't know if this movie will really clear it up or not, or if this is going to be a setup for whatever they decide to do. But yeah, there's a.
I don't know. Introduce his kid. We know he has a kid. He went back in time. So he has a kid.
Captain America.
Give him his kid. If you aren't going to have Chris Evans come back, we know the character went. He stayed back in time.
He's still scheduled to show up. I think like Secret Wars is where you're going to see a lot of these guys come back for one last thing.
One last big check.
Yep. And then it's going to be a reset, and you're going to get younger actors. Then it's going to be the David Cornsweats of the world.
David Cornsweat.
Because Disney does not want to stop making Captain America movies. Disney does not want to stop making Iron Man movies. These movies are going to make money for Disney. And we've already seen, like, you can put different actors in for the superhero roles. And, you know, if you do it well, you have a good story, guess what? Like, oh, Chris Evans isn't going to be Captain America anymore. I'm never going to watch another Captain America movie. No, that's like, I like Chris Evans, but you could put if they put the guy playing Reacher, actually he'd be bigger than Thor though. That dude is a monster. That's who they should have got for Hercules. If they wanted to get an actor for Hercules, because I swear that guy is bigger than Hemsworth. He's thicker.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
They're probably about the same height. They're probably about 6'3", 6'4". But yeah, what is that actor's name? He's been in
I always forget his name. He was Aquaman in the pilot.
Oh yeah, in the Smallville he was Aquaman. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see that dude standing right next to Hemsworth. Because yeah, he would have give him a beard, give him a brown curly wig or something. But yeah, he could have played Hercules better than the guy they got. The guy they got looks puny.
Doesn't he look short?
The guy
you can't even.
He doesn't look big at all. He doesn't look big at all. Like, I know he's in that whatever that soccer show is on Apple Plus.
Oh,
but I haven't watched that at all.
No, there's no way I'm watching a soccer show. There's no way you can bleed anybody off of that Thor: Love and Thunder. That thing was an atrocity. If I had already signed up that guy Hercules guy to show up in something else, I'd be like, I'm sorry, dude. We can't use you. Everything from Thor: Love and Thunder is now contaminated. So,
well, they're not going to change now. I mean, they make these plans. They make these plans way in advance. So, and I mean, Disney will stick with bad ideas even if the fans don't like them. We've seen that.
The machine is rolling. You can't stop the machine once it's started.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But I think they can already see the money being printed, because just the excitement about these scenes. And I mean, you're giving away big parts of the movie here, but I don't think anybody's going to care, because everybody's going to want to see this in the theater day one. I think Deadpool 3 is going to be a monster hit. At least Spider-Man No Way Home numbers I see for it. Who knows? Because like Ryan Reynolds has been hyping this for over a decade. Yeah. And that's what they did. That's what they did with Thanos and with the Avengers movies. They hyped it. They hyped Thanos. They gave you a little taste, and they've been building up. Yeah. And fans love this payoff, and they will show up in droves for a good payoff. And I mean, everything about this that I see looks awesome. It looks fun. Like Deadpool.
We're not seeing anything. We're seeing Hugh Jackman in a costume. We're seeing Ryan Reynolds in a costume. This could be anything.
No,
This
yeah,
could be
this
the
might not
first
even
30
be in the
seconds of the
movie.
movie.
Yeah,
Could
this
be the
might not
first
even be
30
in the
seconds.
movie. This just is like calisthenics in the morning for them warming up. That's his like jogging suit right there. So
This could be a weird multiverse where Deadpool's like, "Why are you attacking me?"
it definitely looks like he's sticking his claws in Deadpool's head there.
Yeah. So, man, I can totally see why this movie got moved up ahead of the schedule. I can see why they're releasing all the clips because they're desperate. They want us to forget about their failures of the last year.
Oh, they want the hype. They want the hype. Yeah.
They want us to just think about what's coming out next year. They already know Marvel's is dead. They
and
know
then
that
I
most
mean
of the stuff.
they leaked a ton of crap out of this. Like all the suit came out, and then there was more clips of the suit, and then there was clips of them fighting, and so that doesn't usually happen by accident. It's like you might get a couple pictures of on set, but to have this much stuff leaked out, I would think Disney is like, we want the hype, we want people getting excited about it ahead of time, and it's a year out. It's this time next year, so.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how the hype engine works, is you start building the hype a year in advance. So so it was a busy week this week, a lot of stuff. I think we covered a lot of the high points. Bunch of Justice Leaguers showing up in the Superman movie, Hugh Jackman's new Wolverine costume. Some people might not like it. I'm fine with it overall. I would have liked to see the bare arms. I think it'll be cool. You better put the mask on in the movie at least once. Yeah, but like overall, a bunch of fun stuff coming up, a bunch of fun stuff to be excited about, and with the writer's strike going on, well, they must have the script already if they're filming, so they're getting this right in under the wire.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? What's he mean he can't adjust it? You can adjust the script. You could just improv. We know Ryan Reynolds is a funny guy. He's going to do like 4 different versions of Deadpool making jokes.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I don't know how that works against the union or not. If you're improving on, it depends on if you're listed. Like if Ryan Reynolds is probably a listed SAG member for the Writers Guild because he's written stuff before. So then improv would probably be considered new writing.
Oh, do you think while he's making his movie, he wouldn't improv just because of a strike?
It depends, because people will gossip on set, and all of a sudden they hear you're writing stuff on set. You're screwing over a lot of people. That's a good way to make a lot of enemies in the guild.
Oh, I personally would just be like, hey, have you seen how much money I made when I sold the Gen company?
And then he doesn't care, but that kind of stuff can come back to bite you, because you work with a lot of people in this industry. There's probably some people in some tough spots because they're like making movies right now, and it's like, everything but already have been written before we went on strike. So
that was Michael Bay's excuse for the second Transformers movie. The big jumps in the story, he said it was because of the writer's strike. They literally couldn't do anything. And I never understood that. I'm like, what do you mean you can't do anything, Michael? Just write something yourself.
Yeah.
But I guess
I think there's
that much money involved.
There's all kinds of clauses in that. And I mean, there's a price you pay if you go against the guild, because then you're a scab, and
you are.
And the thing, but the thing is you're probably gonna end up trying to work with some of these people again, and people will hold it against you. So
of course they will.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, everybody probably has a different opinion on it, but
when everybody has a giant bag of nickels on the table, they're all trying to reach for each other's giant bags of nickels.
Exactly.
They're always fighting for each other's nickels, so they'll all be shitty to each other trying to sneak it.
That's what's going on now, but I think we'll wrap it up for the night. A lot of fun stuff I want to talk about. The Wolverine costume, Justice League, and Superman looks really cool. It'll be interesting to see how it all turns out. Me and Rob will be back on a regular night, Sunday nights. Who knows how much more stuff there'll be to talk about then. But thanks, everybody, showing up. We appreciate everybody hanging out in the chat. It's always awesome. And again, if you're watching this on the rewind, make sure to hit that like button and definitely subscribe to the channel. We cover comics and pop culture every week on Comic Smackdown, Smack Talk Live. Someday I'll get the
you
name
should
right.
show at least Flash.
Oh yeah, geez, yeah. Let's yeah. You know what? Me and Rob, we've got a couple of comic projects going. So before you take off, before my big close down speech, that's why I make my close down speech so long, is so
I
that
can interject.
Rob can remind me, hey, dumbass, how about you show our comic projects too? Which is literally what I need to have happen to remember to do this.
I should have said something sooner.
No, yeah, because you leave it to me, boy. I will forget to do it. I'm not the best salesman.
It's Death Raider. Everybody who's checking this out, please go check out Death Raider on Indiegogo. It is a soldier who loses his legs and builds out an armor using alien knowledge to fight the good fight and fight off an alien infiltration. I almost said insurrection. Infiltration. So it's my pencils, inks, my story. My wife is a grammar Nazi, so she will be tweaking all of my dialogue. So that should be fun.
That's a good person to have around.
Dude, we got in a fight the other day because I told her how I introduced I showed everybody the Hercules page because I was very excited to show off Hercules. And she goes, "Who the hell's Hercules?"
Oh boy.
And I go, he's in Death Raider. And I go, well, and I changed the title from Death Raider to Death Raider Wars, so it makes more sense that Hercules is in that story. And she goes, wait a minute. A mythological character is now being introduced into your sci-fi story adventure. And I go, it'll make sense. She's like, you're introducing way too many ideas. I'm like, you don't understand comic books. So that fight went on for like 15 minutes of me just ignoring her and her bringing up all the things that she thought I was doing wrong. So it was fantastic.
I can imagine that being just superb.
She's like, I want to see the outline. Where's your outline? I'm like, Hercules wasn't in the outline.
Wow, she really holding you to the wall on this stuff. Where's the outline?
Well, yeah, I go, my other character, Big Frankie, was in the outline. And I go, but too many people have released their version of Frankenstein recently. So I didn't want to do my version of Frankenstein also.
I gotcha.
Yes. But so lots of different offerings. There's a black and white offering, there's the full color offering, there is a black and white with no lettering offering. There's you can even be one of the first to buy some of the original art if you like. There's even Death Raider watches. There's a little bit of everything for everyone. We haven't actually hit any of the stretch goals, so I would like to, if we hit 20, I'm going to revamp the stretch goals. A bunch of cool trading cards and things like that. But until we're at 17, my first stretch goal was going to be 20 anyways. Originally, so until we hit 20, there's no reason to retype a bunch of stretch goals. But I'm having a blast working on the story, even with my editor yelling at me. So it's been a blast, and I am super appreciative of everybody who has already backed this book. It's I've talked a lot of shit for 30 years in comics, and why am I working on this shitty comic book? This story's stupid. This story's a piece of shit. So now it's my turn to, prove that I actually know something about writing, and specifically writing a comic book sci-fi action adventure story. So that's pretty much, that's the pitch.
Randy says, oh yeah, another backer.
Oh,
Randy
awesome.
said you got another backer. So that is awesome.
Fantastic. Very cool. Oh yeah, there it is. It just jumped.
Yeah, just thanks to the chat.
Yep.
Definitely check out Death Raider. Looks like Randy's got the link in the chat there, and also I have the link in the description below. So everybody hit up Death Raider. It is in demand right now, and I mean Rob's killing it on the art, as you can see. Looks freaking fantastic. Yep, beautiful looking book and a really cool story. So everybody check out Death Raider. Anything else? Do we cover it, Rob?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, to be honest, everyone heard the pitch, and hopefully they'll go check. Anybody who hasn't checked it out already goes to the Indiegogo page, and you can read more on it. But there's two main characters. It's Death Raider and it's Anna, who's like my version of Black Widow, and then there's all the alien bad guys. And as people have heard, there's also at the end I introduced Hercules the Broken because I wanted to do a big, strong muscle guy who could fit into the story. So, and he does, even if my wife doesn't completely agree, he does fit into the story nicely.
She doesn't understand comics.
She keeps telling me I'm throwing too many elements.
Oh, no, never enough. I throw everything in the kitchen sink in my comics. So,
and here's the kitchen sink.
Yep, exactly.
What page is the kitchen sink on?
Yep, I've got Superiors still in demand. I'm wrapping up the supplemental books right now. Really hoping to go to the printer maybe end of July, probably more likely August right now.
Ooh.
But yeah, I want to get these books to the printer and start shipping them out. So I'm not going to leave them in demand long. I think once I'm ready to go to the printer, we'll maybe do a closeout show on the Pontificators just to wrap everything up for the Superiors. But just straightforward superhero comic. This is my version of the Justice League, the Avengers. I love superheroes. I love the multiverse. So kind of both of those elements play into the storyline. If you haven't checked it out yet, I got the link in the description. Randy's got the link in the chats. You will need that direct link to find it because it is still shadow banned on Indiegogo. But it has, like, literally, it really didn't hurt me. I have about the same number of backers as I had for Slave Girl, so even the shadow banning didn't really hold me down just because Comicsgate shows up, and Comicsgate is, an awesome fan group that supports these comics. So we definitely appreciate you. Hail Comicsgate.
I love these designs. I want to see that Captain America version. I like that guy a lot.
War Eagle.
Not Captain America. Name.
He's not Captain
War
America.
Eagle. Yeah. I know he's not Captain America.
War Eagle gets into some shit in the book. So yeah. So
remember Rob Liefeld when he got sued for his Captain America style character.
Fighting American.
You can't throw the shield.
Can't throw the shield. Yep.
Can't throw the shield.
That's the
only rule you have to follow.
Yep, I remember hearing that about Rob with Fighting American is can't throw the shield, which is fine because I'm not sure Rob could really pull off that dynamic. Like he could probably.
He had Stephen Platt draw on the first couple issues, anyways.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I still love Stephen Platt stuff, man.
Oh, dude.
So yeah, if you guys are catching us on the rewind, haven't checked out the Superiors or Death Raider yet, hit those links. Go check them out. The Indiegogo page. You can read all the descriptions, watch the video, go through all the different reward tiers, and these books are still available in demand. So do not miss them. And with that, unless there's anything else I'm forgetting. I don't think so. I think we covered all our bases tonight. I actually remembered to, you helped me remember to show the books. But again, thanks to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys being here. And if you're catching us on the rewind, I know there's a lot of competition tonight. But yeah, click that like button, hit subscribe, and appreciate everybody being here. You guys have a great week, and we are out of here, man. Have a good Thursday. See ya.